I'll tell you what, I had a lot of fun with our classic bit, Where's It Snowing, this past week.
Well, I'll bet you did.
Did you find out where it wasn't snowing?
Yeah.
I did have a couple people inform me of where it was not snowing.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
don't tell me where it's not snowing. Yeah. That's not the game. That's not the game. Hey, this is Due to Underwhelming Demand, the podcast that, brace yourself, guys, looks like we're on the naughty list.
Oh.
Yeah. Although I would like to plead our case, Forman, we didn't organize a murder mystery for preteens. We didn't put up a sex swing. Please don't include. I mean, I think we know who's on the naughty
I don't think
list.
Santa is anti-sex swing.
Only one of us has watched Hot Frosty.
So that was Dave.
I did not say that Santa was anti-sex.
Okay. Oh, I thought we were on the naughty list.
But the elves are.
Oh, I see. Okay, they don't like to
and
make...
for a very good reason, Rachel, which we won't go into. Okay. Okay.
Fine. Fair enough.
All right. We are Dave, Rachel, and Forman. Apologies for no new episode last week or whenever you download your podcasts. I couldn't talk.
If you're not listening as soon as this comes out, this doesn't matter to you.
No, it doesn't matter.
It's still episode 105, but
Whatever.
we skipped a week.
It just was
because of Dave.
It's a week late because I had although I read on social media the podcast has been canceled. I was like, what happened? How did it get canceled?
Well, you got sick.
Well,
you couldn't talk.
No, we missed a week. That's
okay,
all.
it was postponed.
We're not.
I guess, yeah.
We're still here.
Sure.
We did, and we heard from you, and thank you. Like Julie had said, she wanted you to get well soon, Dave.
Oh,
Looking
nice.
forward to listening next week. We'll miss you, but I'll try to make it through the week without you guys. It'll be a struggle, but I'll make it.
Okay.
Aw.
Oh, that's nice.
And
well,
Bob chimed in to say, by the way, too.
Bob.
Get better soon, Dave. You should have had the flu shot.
I did. Actually, I did get the flu shot. It wasn't that. I had I don't know what it was. It was one of those weird, when you get a cold, sometimes it's the full blown, you get the headache and you're all stuffed up and you're coughing and you're doing all of that. I had a little cough. That's how it started. It never really materialized. It got a little louder and a little more annoying. And then it got, to the point where I was awake at night, but it was a cough. That was it. But I lost, out of that cough, I lost my voice, which is still a little raspy, but coming back slowly but surely.
It sounds okay to us.
Yeah, I feel fine now, and we're back. I really wanted to do the podcast last week because all of you people who are, and I don't know where you are, but if you're dreaming of a white Christmas, slow your effing roll. Holy cow. Like,
did you wish for what we got a week or two ago?
Yeah. Can we just back up for a second? Can we just kind of, maybe sing that song maybe 1 or 3 or 500 times less?
Yeah.
Because
we got a dumping.
Well, you guys, I'm sure, got some snow. Forman, you're in St. Thomas. Rachel, you're in small town nowhere. And I'm sure that you guys got snow, but you didn't get. And I don't. People got more snow than I think Gravenhurst, I read the mayor of Gravenhurst, who's lived there 25 years or whatever, said she'd never seen that much snow in a short period of time. They got 140 centimeters.
Wow.
That's like almost 5 feet.
That's 5 feet.
Unreal.
That's insane.
That's unreal.
But we got, starting on, it began overnight Sunday into Monday, and then when it got up early Monday, I looked outside and went, oh, we have snow. Mm-hmm. And then I backed the truck out. I'm taking my wife to work, and I backed
What kind of truck?
A black one. And I backed it out, and I went, well, there's more snow out there than you really think there is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I came back, and I thought, well, Charlotte's got to drive to school, and I better dig the whole thing out. So I went out at around, I'm going to say 8:15. And, Charlotte had a dentist appointment first and then school. So dentist appointment at 9. I go out at 8:15 to start digging. Right. And I'm going to shovel this stuff. I don't want to snowblow. I just shovel, get some exercise. I got about 15 minutes into my exercise and said, the hell with this. Where is my snowblower?
Well, yeah.
So I don't know.
Way too much.
I'm not really good with centimeters. I'm going to say, in my mind, I want to say a foot, maybe a little bit more, 15 centimeters. Is that right?
Was it
15,
up to your
20?
knees?
No, not
Maybe?
at that point. Not at that point. Monday
Yeah.
morning, early Monday morning. Now, here's the thing. So I'm out there doing it, and I snow blowing and stuff. And but it's still snowing. Like you're out there doing it, and you're in a snow globe. Like it's still coming down.
It's
and
the
you just
kind
go,
of snow that when I was a kid, my dad and now Jeremy does.
Yeah.
He goes out and shovels just to kind of keep up with it, so
Yes.
that you don't wait for it all, and
Yes.
and then you're doing like
exactly
2 feet at once,
Yeah.
right?
So I snow blow, blow out the back. I get that all done, and then I'm back in the house, and I'm like, I got a little bit of this cold. Oh, I'm suffering. I better have a nap. So I napped, and then when I get up, I looked outside and I went, it's still snowing. Is it ever going to stop snowing?
No, it didn't all
No.
week.
So now, later in the afternoon, I go out and I dig out again. Now, maybe this much. Maybe it's not a lot, but I dig it out.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, my wife gets up before me. She usually gets up and works out. And then I get up and I'll drop her. And so she's up. I get up at my normal time and I look out and I hear her coming in from the garage, and I think, what's she doing out in the garage? Well, she decided not to do a little workout downstairs. She decided to go out and shovel half of the driveway, the half that the truck is in. And
that's nice
we
of her.
had another. So now Tuesday morning we got another 15, maybe 20
Wow,
centimeters.
I know. It was
and
just
I'm
crazy.
like, what's going on? So I dig all of that out and get it all done. Now you're going to get plowed in. Now I come to the crux of my story. Sorry I've taken so long. So now we're going to get plowed in. And when you get plowed in. So I'm wise, Forman. We had this discussion when we were on the radio where one of the plow guys said, you got to know which way they come from. Because if you can clear it out away, right?
I'm firmly believe now, for the record, that is straight horse.
Well, it works for me. It does work for me most
What do you
of
mean
the
if you know
Because
which way they come
because
from?
if you go down the curb on
the right
whichever
side
way,
of it, if you do
yeah.
it the right way.
if they're pushing it towards your driveway, you want to clear.
I
that
know which
side
way
of your
they're pushing
driveway.
it. I know which way they normally push. Normally, not always, but normally push the snow. So I try to get rid of the snow before they push it, so they have less snow to push into my driveway.
I've just tried to make sure and
sense?
done both sides of the driveway, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyway,
It just comes right back
It
in.
worked out sort of okay for me, but I have to go out and I have to dig out, and it's all chunky, and it's all, you know what it's like when they plow it. It's heavy. And
The
it's
The
no
ice
good.
blocks.
Yeah, it's a
under
wall of
there.
ice. Yeah.
It's no good. It's not fun. It's not a lot of fun at all. So, and we've gotten a lot of snow at this point. I don't know how much. Doesn't matter. We got a lot. So I'm chewing it out of my driveway. Now I got to go around. I'm on a corner. I got to go over and do my front walk, and it's way worse. Like it's, it's up to my waist
Well,
where they
it's
Wow.
drifted. Oh,
It's a
yeah.
snow drift.
Yeah.
And it's great, big, heavy stuff. So I get out there, and lo and behold, who's out doing the end of their driveway?
The boo hag.
The boo-hag.
Oh,
And
boy.
she's out there, and I'm looking, and I'm going, and they do their driveway, they shovel. That's what they do. They do the whole thing like Jeremy, where they shovel and they shovel and they shovel and they shovel, right?
Yeah.
They try to keep
It
up
is
with
actually easier to keep on top of it rather than
But
letting
it
it.
doesn't help you at the end of the driveway.
No, that
It doesn't work for that.
You still
Although
have
I
to
have
dig that out.
noticed this year, I also seem to live with people who are taking the opportunity for exercise. And we only had 2 days we needed to shovel the first day.
Yeah.
Harley did it.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
Thanks.
Wow.
I posted that, and the second day Ashley did it. I haven't shoveled at all
You're a
this year.
lucky man.
Wow.
You're a lucky man. Anyway,
You know,
so
I usually do a lot of shoveling. I haven't shoveled it all either. So
I go around the front.
Not
now,
surprised by that.
Now,
Okay.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Now I got to dig out this big area, my front walk. Now it's not that wide, but you've got to, and it's huge. And so I look over, Boo Hag's out there, and she's picking up the chunks. There are and it's a double driveway, right? They've got a 2-car garage,
Must
and
be nice.
she's picking up chunks off of this stuff because you can't even shovel it; it's too heavy.
Yeah.
And she's picking them up and tossing them, right? She's shaking her head, and then she looks over at me, and I'm grinding with my, but I get it out of there because I got a snowblower. It goes through it eventually. It goes through.
Yeah, it does,
So
yeah.
then I think to myself,
Should I go help?
Should I be good neighbor and go over and help?
Does Dave
What would
help
Dave
the
do?
boo-hag?
in a
What
case
would
like-
Dave do?
What do
I'm
you
actually
think?
stumped on what you would do right now
What
because
do you
she has
think
been
that-
such a dick to you guys.
Yes.
Yes.
What do you think
However,
Dave did?
you being the nice guy and helping with your
I'm
snowblower
a-
would probably go a long
I-
way to repairing some of that.
And I
That
think
is
I think
true.
if you were to describe me in a word, you would say sweetheart. I think both of you.
Obviously.
Of course.
Yes, that's the
So
first thing I
what
think
do you
of.
think
No comment.
I did?
I think you
Sweetheart.
did you help? I don't know.
I was
Forman, what do you
expecting
think?
you to say that she was picking up the ice chunks and throwing them onto your walk.
That's what I expected too. I thought you were going to say she picked them up and threw them
No.
right in front of your snowblower.
That would surprise me. If she
That's
did.
what
But
I thought
no,
you were
she
going to
didn't do that.
Which is why I'm leaning to. Which is why I can't decide. Actually, if you've, I'm
Forman,
really
what
on
do
the
you think?
fence about this,
I knew
whether you
you
helped or
wouldn't
not.
be able to decide. Forman,
Was
what do
her
you think?
husband out there?
No.
Okay, so it was just her
Yeah.
shoveling,
Yep.
By herself.
Yep.
but it was all ice, so it wasn't snow.
It's all chunky.
And the snowblower's not really going
all
to do
chunky
much for
and
the
all
ice.
that stuff and all that stuff.
I think you pretended that your snowblower broke and you went inside. It did not help.
Well,
I'm going
you're-
to do a vote for helping.
You're closer to the truth, Forman, than you are from the. I didn't pretend my snowblower didn't work. I just put it back in the garage, and I thought, if I were to help her,
Yeah.
here's how I wrestled with this.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to help her, I feel like when I come in the house and I say to my beautiful wife Jana, well, I helped the boo hag out. I dug her out, dug the bottom end of her driveway. She would have lost her mind with me and said, "Are you crazy? The woman that called the city on us, the woman who is like this, you helped
Yeah.
her." So I wrestled with it.
Yeah.
But you
And
kill her
then
with
I went-
kindness. She'll
Yeah, I
she'll
mean-
regret all those terrible things.
No,
Yes.
I-
If you helped
Deep
her,
down
I think
inside.
I
it would. Yeah.
think.
I think
Anyway,
she
so
would have some regrets for being
I wheeled
such a
back
dick.
into my driveway. I got around into my driveway. I see my other neighbor who I like very much. His name is Gary, and he's out. He's got one of those big metal things, you know, that you push, like the great big shovels. That's what he.
Oh, the giant scooper
the
shovel.
scooper shovel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's
All
doing
right.
the bottom of his driveway with that. And I went, well, I gotta help him. Like, I'll help him.
I'll
So
help
I-
you, Gary.
Yeah.
So you
I
got the
wheeled up
snowblower
there, and I
back
said,
out and
"Gary,
went over-
here, I'll help you dig it out." And he goes,
Yeah.
No, don't. This is my exercise. Don't do it. I see you running all the time. That's your exercise. This is my exercise. This is what I do. I said, no, I'll help. No, I don't want any help. I said, okay. So I went in and I went, well, I feel better now. At least I offered to help someone.
Right? Offered one
I
neighbor.
offered to help one neighbor.
You know what? Let this be a lesson to the boo hag. If you are going to continue to be an ass,
Well,
nobody's going to help you when you need it.
the sign says karma is a bitch.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
thank you for
and
giving
I-
us
I-
one hate listen download every week, though.
One hate listen.
I don't think so. This is due to Underwhelming Demand, the podcast that's like opening a Christmas present and getting underwear and socks.
Just
You know.
what I needed.
Yeah, something you really
Jeremy
don't want. but-
relies on his annual Christmas underwear and socks gift
Yes.
to get him through the year, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So
But it's something,
That's-
yes, you
can't
really,
be that
really,
bad.
honestly, when you open it, you're like, great, thanks. This
now
is what
I don't
want.
want someone to buy me underwear and socks. What's that? Your holy underwear?
Hold on. Can you read it?
Your boxers waiting for December 25th.
25th. Exactly.
Yeah.
You may need this podcast, just
Right.
like the new underwear and socks you're going to get.
You may
okay?
need it. Yes, you need it.
You may need it.
You need
yes.
it like you need a new pair of undies.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, well, you know what I didn't need recently is
Oh.
I know, so good. So good. Thank you.
You know
Thank
what
you.
I didn't need?
I didn't need.
The
Yeah.
old double negative segue. I love that.
You know what I did not need to
yeah.
have happen
You know what I did not need?
is finding a mouse in the house. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Happened last week, and so Jeremy wasn't home. It was just me and the girls.
That's even better. That
It
makes
was so much worse.
You don't even really have
so
to.
much worse.
You don't even have to tell the story now.
You know what happened.
Wait a second. It's Christmas time. Sit by the warmth of your fire while you listen to the podcast, and Forman and I will do the same thing. Just pause for a second and imagine how this went with no Jeremy in the house and a mouse.
Oh my God! And three of us girls.
You don't even have to talk. Right?
That was exactly the same when it happened over here.
What?
That was exactly.
Yeah. Were you not there?
Remember, no, I wasn't home, and you had sent a message about. You didn't explain what happened, and we still don't know. You had just said we're having a mouse crisis over here, and
Oh my
Jeremy
God.
isn't home.
Yeah.
And Ashley said, "You weren't home either. Why
Yeah.
does this happen when you guys aren't home?"
Why are you
And
not
you know
there?
what? And then you're blamed.
Yes.
You are blamed,
You're
for
blamed,
what
yeah.
happened because
Yes.
you weren't here.
Exactly. You, the mouse catcher, should be in the home at all times.
How am I the mouse catcher?
Yeah.
You're
Nowhere-
it, 'cause
nowhere
it's not
on-
me. I
nowhere-
can tell you that right now.
Nowhere
my
on,
case-
on any business card that
No.
I've ever had in my life does it
And
say
really,
mouse catcher.
if it comes down to Ashley and I, who's the mouse catcher, it's really her because in our case, she found it dead in her sweater
Oh my
pocket
gosh, I
that
remember
she
that.
wore
Yeah.
around the house and
that
made dinner
time-
with.
You were home that time,
I
right?
was not home.
Oh, I thought that was a different. Okay. So
I
you've
came
only had
home
one mouse
later
check?
in the night
Right.
when she was horrified and stripped down to nothing after cuddling with it on the couch, and it was dead on the couch beside her.
Oh my! No, thank you.
Yeah, top
No.
that story, Rach.
Well, I didn't cuddle with the dead mouse. No, it was very much alive.
You cuddled
And-
with the live mouse.
No, I didn't touch anything.
Where was said mouse?
So the girls and I were playing charades in the living room. I don't know. We were just having fun.
That's
so the
what
TV
happens when
was off.
Jeremy's not home.
It's kind of quiet, right? And which I've noticed. I think that's when the mouse comes out because when you're moving around, it's not coming out. So
How often do you play charades with the girls?
well, we
That's
have the
not
kids charades thing, and Julia was like, "Let's have a family game night." So we did. I don't know. We might play it once a month. We just did. So you pick a card and you do it, and anyway, it was fine.
Okay.
So we're playing this game, and all of a sudden, I just happened to look over into the kitchen, and I see on the stove. There's a pot on the stove that hadn't been cleaned yet, but behind
Because Jeremy
the pot,
wasn't home.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah, of course.
and behind the pot, this little brown head pops up, and I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And the girls were like, "What? What?" I'm like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" And they're like, "What? And so I'm trying to text Jeremy immediately, and I'm like, "There's a mouse!" And the girls are like, "Ah, what?" And they're screaming, and I'm like, "I know!" Like I feel the same. Like I also want to
Okay,
scream.
you're supposed
But
to
at this
keep
point-
things calm.
I have to be the adult. I know. Ugh, I hated that.
but
Why
you
do I
weren't.
have to be the adult?
You can't be, and this is what happens in my house again. And say, you see
No.
where they get it from?
Okay. So Jeremy FaceTimes me and I'm like, "Oh my god." And then the mouse goes away. I'm like, "Where the hell did that mouse come from? And where did it go?" It's on top of my stove. Now, I have a gas stove, so it's got like the grate on top and it kind of dips down to where the burners are, right? So
Wait a
there's
know
second.
how you could deal with that.
You have a gas stove?
Yeah.
That's how you get rid of the mouse.
Light her up.
no.
Fire it up, Rach.
I don't know how it's getting onto the stovetop.
That's irrelevant.
it's not in the oven.
You want that mouse to dance.
Well, I didn't want it to jump on me. That's what I didn't want. I didn't go friggin' near it. So
Smells
then,
like fried pussycat.
okay. I was not lighting a mouse on fire. Although
I
I
didn't say
probably
you had to
could
light
have
them on
easily-
fire. I just
Well,
thought that,
you turn the burner on, it's fire.
well,
It would
yes,
die immediately.
not necessarily.
And then I have to
immediately.
deal with it.
They're pretty fast.
Yeah. So I screamed and
Uh-huh.
it ran away. So I think I don't know how to explain this very well. There's the stove top, right? But then the back of the stove, like where the clock is, it kind of it obviously
buttons
connects.
yeah.
However, there's a space there that goes kind of in behind the stove. Like
Between the stove and the wall.
no, it's in the front of the clock part of it, you know?
Oh,
Like on the backing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if that's for steam to like gas to escape. I don't really know. Anyway, it's coming up from there. Now, I don't know if that goes into the oven below or if there's a wall, if it's like a wall between the back of the oven and the back of the stove. Do you know what I mean? It's hard
One
to
way
explain.
to find out.
I am not taking that thing apart. I
No.
cannot.
Turn on the oven.
Well, I guess.
While.
Once again, we get back to
So
making the most
luckily,
dance.
we hadn't actually used the oven for 2 days because we were out for dinner the one day, and then the next day I made like chicken Caesar salad. So I already had the chicken, and it was just all kind of cold stuff.
Left over from Swiss Chalet.
No. Anyway, so we had that. And so the mouse goes away. So Jeremy FaceTimes me, and I am freaking out. Like, oh my God, why is this happening to me right now? So, and then I'm trying to text my neighbor because Jeremy's working until like 10 p.m. So he's not coming home. And the girls are screaming, and they're like, where did it go? I'm like, I don't know. Is it on the floor? No, it's not. I don't think so. And then my neighbor, who is the other husband that I rely on, is not home also. But his wife is texting me like, haha, this is fun. And I'm like, I'm freaking out. And she's like, I'm sorry, he's not home. So then I call.
She's not coming over to help because
She's
you don't
not
want to go
coming.
anywhere
No,
near the mouse.
Oh,
Not
no,
a
for sure not.
chance.
She's like, I would freak out too. I'm like, I know. So then I call the next nearest person is my stepdad who lives around the corner. So he comes over immediately. Thank God. So he comes over and he sets up a bunch of traps, and I tell him where the mouse was. He's like, yeah, because the mouse came out again. We saw the mouse again. He's like, oh yeah, I saw his tail scurry into that little opening. And so he set the trap. We set 2 on top of the stove, and then we put 2 under the stove because we didn't know if they were underneath. We took the drawer out, put them in, and then closed the drawer. And so anyways, then so the girls at that point were out on the front porch. They will not come in the house until this is taken care of. So I'm now inside by myself trying to be an adult with a mouse in the house. And I've heard if you see a mouse, if you actually see one, then you know you have a whole family somewhere. There's a lot more than just one. So now that freaks me out too, right?
Can confirm.
Anyway, we ended up catching the mouse overnight. Jeremy came home. He's like, well, when I come home, don't worry, I'll deal with it. I'm like, yeah, you will deal with it because I'm not dealing with it. Like, you're dealing with the dead mouse.
And you're mad at him.
I'm not mad. I just don't want to
You
deal
sound
with
like
it.
you're mad at him.
I am.
You sound like you're
freaked out
mad
by
at
the mouse.
everybody.
Yeah, because I hate mice and I don't want them in my house. I'm mad that the mouse is in the house at all. But every time I screamed, the mouse would run away. So I know it's scared of us because it doesn't like my screams. So it would go back into the little hole that it's in. But I don't know where it had come from.
Do you
I
find
don't know
Jeremy
where it's
acts the
getting
same
into.
way?
No,
When you scream, he scurries
he
away
hides.
into his little hole.
probably. He's like, please stop that. Now there's 3 of you. But the 2 of them were on the front porch. And then Stu came over and they were like, no, we're going to wait for him to set up all the traps and then we'll come inside. Anyway, the next morning we woke up and the mouse was dead on the stove. So that needed a good cleaning because we did catch it in the trap. And that's all we've caught so far. So
Just one.
Just one. I know. Then Jeremy went out and got, spray foam and caulking and more traps. And I was like, we are sealing every hole outside. Make sure we put grates on the vents, things like that. I just can't. I can't with the mice. And they all get in this time of year.
Well, it's cold out.
Because of the snow. Yeah, it's starting to snow
It's
and it's
very cold. Yeah.
I
I
know.
the worst part about having mice is trying to set those little traps.
Yes.
I cannot.
They're
because
tricky.
they're so flimsy
Yes.
that they will crush your fingertips.
But the cheap ones
They
are the
will
best
always,
ones.
yeah, I know, but they will
Yeah.
always not catch and slam on you. And if you're not,
Yeah.
like, you're like, I've never shaken like that before. Than when trying to set traps.
So Stu
when you
was
get
setting
it
the
set
one.
and trying to put it with the process of it
Yep.
set in your hand, and how do you get it off your hand and
And
put
onto
down?
the floor without it
You
snapping closed.
Can't.
It's like a
It's
50-50 shot.
It's 50-50 or worse.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Stu had to reset one probably 10 times, and then we're like, you know what? Let's just use a different one.
If you're trapping yourself, Forman, there could be a problem here.
Those traps are so finicky, they will snap on anything. That's why they're the best kind, but you got to make sure you don't snap yourself.
Honestly, the stress of setting mousetrap is
Yeah.
like watching an episode of The Bear.
I wouldn't know because I don't set them. But
I wouldn't know,
The bear.
says Rachel. Of course.
the bear's not stressful.
Did you watch the Christmas episode yet?
Yes, but I didn't. It's not that bad. It's not like having a mouse in your house. I can tell you that right now.
Just a car.
This is, due to underwhelming demand, the ugly Christmas sweater of podcast. Of course we are.
Yes.
Of course we
Yeah.
are. That's us.
Underwhelming and ugly. Yeah.
Yes. The two U's.
Yeah.
We are Dave.
Or maybe
Rachel.
we're so sparkly it's off-putting.
Could be. I doubt it, though. We are Dave, Rachel, and Forman.
You're wearing one right now, David.
I do.
Yeah. What is
I
that?
have
Oh, it's a
my,
Joe Cool's
my Joe
sweater.
Cool's ugly sweater.
It
on.
is ugly.
It is. Yeah.
It's very ugly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is the elf that's visiting us right now.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
All right.
Do
Wait
we
a
need
second.
a disclaimer here first?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Are we going to talk? How are we going to present the elf?
Oh, okay. Hang on a second, Foreman. Are you about to, like you did last year, destroy Christmas for all kids?
That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what
You
it
know
is.
that's
Will
what you do.
shrink 3 sizes today.
That's right.
You know what? I might
Before-
actually ruin Christmas as well. I might pile on that. So,
Okay.
because I
okay.
also have a
Well,
story that I could tell.
those of you who've been wishing
So if
for
you
a
have
white
little
Christmas,
children,
if you've been wishing for a white Christmas, you know what we think of you already. So slow your roll.
I
And-
like a white Christmas, just
We
not
can
a
have a
whole
white
season's
Christmas.
worth in a
Well,
day.
I like it if we have a white Christmas. We get all that dumping when I don't have to drive. If I have to drive in it,
All right,
I don't
stop.
want it. Yeah.
It just was getting, when you get that much snow, it's almost
much.
laughable. It
It
was
really
a little
is.
laughable. Okay. Anyway, so slow your roll
All right.
on the
Children
white
are out of
Christmas.
the room, right?
That's right. And get the kids out of the room because here we
Why-
go. Here is the foreman who stole Christmas.
Also, why the were they in the room?
I don't know. Some kids
They
listen
shouldn't
to it,
be,
I
but
think.
okay.
Any-
All right.
Maybe you're playing
Foreman,
this
what's
in the
going on
car
with
and the kids are there.
So what are we
Yeah.
talking about here? The elf on the shelf
The
thing
elf.
again?
The elf on the shelf. Our daughter Harley, who's 11,
Mm-hmm.
knows that it's just a toy.
Right.
This is what we went through last year,
Right.
right? And I believe it was on this
didn't
podcast. And what? Yeah.
The elf
Yeah.
didn't move one night, or that was it, right?
No, she saw you moving it or something.
I think
Right?
she
She came out of her room.
she caught one of us moving it and,
Right.
and was gonna ask anyway, is it even real? Like, it was a whole. So you can enjoy that on a previous episode.
Sure.
Obviously, we don't have
Sure.
very good memories of our own lives.
Go relive Christmas past.
Yeah. But it has actually made this year more delightful because she wants to help the elf do things on a daily basis for the enjoyment of her younger sister.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Less
okay.
stress on you.
Yes.
I feel like yes, but I also feel like there's. I feel like this isn't going to work out.
There's
Why?
been several real short, sharp quips of, you better not ruin this for your sister.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Don't you dare say anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because she still love it. Like, Emily will rise up out of bed and run down the stairs and immediately go search for her. And she's like,
Yes.
look where the elf is
Good,
today.
good.
Yes.
Like, you'll hear that from 2 floors away. It's
Yeah.
adorable. And so
Yeah.
as long as she can cling to that, the better. So far, her older sister is doing a fantastic job helping.
Good.
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 Except for earlier this week, and we don't even know how,
Oh, no.
that we noticed after a night in the morning, the elf didn't have a nose. Like, it's a plush elf. It's a bigger elf than the usual elf, but it still is an official elf on the shelf. But
Oh, I see.
the
Okay.
nose would be like a hard plastic piece, and it was just gone. So she's got like an indent, like a Michael
Really?
Jackson, if you
How'd
will.
that happen?
A Michael Jackson nose.
I don't.
That's quite sad. That's
But
really
you
quite
can
sad.
picture it.
But as soon
Yes,
as
I
you
can.
said it.
I can
knew.
right
You
away.
knew.
Immediately, I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
now.
you do.
Okay. What happened to the nose?
We don't know. So
Huh.
the nose is gone.
You have mice.
It
I don't think so.
You have mice?
We already burned that house down.
Yeah. Don't think mice eat,
Okay.
plastic
I
noses.
haven't burned mine down yet.
No, yeah. So but it was Ashley setting it up this morning. So still set it up, and so the elf is in the main floor, little half bathroom sink, fishing for little goldfish crackers and she made like a whole fishing reel and everything.
Wow.
Noseless still?
Yeah,
Noseless?
still noseless though.
Jeez, we just move it around the house.
Because we thought, well, what can you do now?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Emily won't notice. First thing she saw this morning was, where's the nose?
Yeah.
Of course.
We
What
said,
happened
are
to
you
the elf's
sure?
nose?
Maybe the elf has been like that the whole time.
You should just gaslight her and say, I can see a nose. It's right there.
Right.
The gaslighting has already begun when you go, are you sure?
Yeah.
The
Sure
nose
there's
has been
no
missing.
nose.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
never
can
had a
see it.
nose.
It was pretty foggy getting up to the North Pole last night. She
Right.
must have had an accident.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You could have set up a little game like, got your nose with another stuffy or something like that.
Could have.
You could try
We
that.
tried we
And
didn't
then-
even notice.
And then the elf just never gets it back.
Well, right. Yeah.
Right?
Okay. I feel
could do
like that's
something
a
like that.
stretch. That's a bit of a stretch, Rachel.
Well,
it seemed to be okay for the day of starting with, we didn't notice. Maybe it's been like that for a while.
Okay.
And maybe she had an accident getting to and from the North Pole last night.
sure.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
But we got to do something about this. So Ashley's looking up, okay, where do you even buy an elf? Mid-December. Like, who needs to sell them mid-December? Like, if you're going to get one, you already have one.
Right.
Right? And this isn't your typical smaller elf. It's a larger plush elf. Still
Right.
looks the same, just a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Turns out that exact model of elf, like this is like the killing the Christmas spirit as we speak, because that model of elf has been discontinued.
Oh, no.
You can't get that one now. You can only get a very similar one, but it's a plush nose that's sewn on.
Let me guess, there was a problem with the nose with the discontinued elf.
Must have been.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's awful. Okay.
But-
so what are you going to do?
Well, as luck would have it,
Uh-huh.
we found the nose in the carpet. Like, it is tiny.
Yeah.
And Ashley found it in the carpet where it was or near where it was the night before, because that
Okay.
was my first thought. Like, it must
Yes.
be somewhere around there.
Right.
And this tiny little bead, basically, we found it. So
Okay, good.
tomorrow morning, the elf will be in a new location with a Band-Aid on her nose.
Okay.
And then the following morning, she will once again have a nose.
Oh, okay, good. You know what I just thought of? If you didn't find the nose, now that you have, this is a moot point.
It's very
You
moot.
could
Tell us
pretend,
anyway.
put the Band-Aid on and then give her a different bead for a nose, like she had a nose job.
Well, she's getting a nose job.
She's getting a nose job anyway. But if it was a different one, then when you get a nose job, it's a different nose.
Why
Why
don't you just have
a Michael Jackson? Full
yeah?
circle.
Why don't you just have a
Full
Michael
circle.
Jackson on the shelf?
Full circle.
Just get rid of the elf and get a Michael Jackson. Nose keeps falling off. All of that
Okay,
stuff.
I can't wait
Yeah.
to see how that plays out. Actually,
What color will the Michael be tomorrow, Dad?
Okay.
I have an elf on the shelf story. If you're finished, are you finished? Do you have more to your
Everything's
story?
good. Are we
Like, Emily's
believing
okay
the
with
nose
that?
job? Every
Well, she hasn't seen it with the Band-Aid because that'll be for tomorrow
that's
morning.
tomorrow.
And
Okay,
then
well,
if she hasn't seen it with the
we'll
nose
need
return.
an update on that.
Okay,
I guess
update, yeah.
we will. All right.
Yeah.
We will.
Okay, so my 11-year-old Julia is same age as Harley. Our girls are actually the exact same ages. Forman's girls and my girls.
Yeah.
So Julia's 11. Last year, there was 2 times where she asked me if Santa was real. And we kind of got away with, the first time I said, yes, of course, yes. And she's like, okay. And then later in the season, she asked again, and I said, do you really want to know? And she said, no. Super
Well,
quickly.
that's saying
I don't
no.
want- I'm
saying,
like,
do you really want to
"Do
know
you
is saying
believe-"
no.
I said, do you believe Santa's real? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's all that matters. And she's like, okay. So then this year we're actually getting ready for the elf to return. We're talking about it. I've put it in my calendar, like elf returns December 1st or whatever, right? So that I know the day before or the November 30th. And I think she saw it in there and she's like, the elf returns. I'm like, yeah, the elf comes back. Well, she comes down into my studio here December 1st and she's like, Mom, I have to ask you something. I said, okay. She's like, it's really been bothering me. I said, okay. She's like, are you and Dad moving the elf? And I said, do you really want to know? And she
Mostly your dad.
Mostly your dad. She's like,
Yeah.
I said, do you really want to know? She's like, yes. Like, oh my God, yes. And I'm like, yes, we are. She's like, oh, okay, good. I thought like she was relieved to hear that.
Yeah.
And she was like, thank God.
The whole elf on the shelf thing is creepy.
Right. So that
is.
day she was actually home. She was homesick or she was home doing something. She had a play that she was doing. So she might have been home by herself that morning. And the elf was in the same room as her. And she said, I've just been staring at that elf all day. And the elf is just staring at me. It's so creepy. And she's like, I wanted to touch it. And I was going to touch it because I think it's just a toy. But then I didn't want to touch it because if I touch it, the magic goes away. So I almost did. And then I was like, nope, don't do it, Julia. She's talking to herself and she's telling me this whole story about how I'm going to touch it. No, I'm not. No, yes, I am. No, I'm not. And she's wrestling with this in her head. And then she tells me that in the summer sometime she was in the furnace room and she saw the elf on the shelf in the box. And she had asked me about that earlier. And I said, well, the elf, remember when we got the elf on the shelf and it came in a box? And she said, yeah. And I was like, well, that's it. We still have the box. And then she was like, oh, and then the elf just stays there all year. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like that's what the elf does.
No, it's supposed to have gone to the North Pole.
No, it stays in our box, Forman. That's what it does. It stays in the box in the furnace room.
That's our story.
That's where it lives.
Yeah.
We're sticking to it.
Anyway, so she was actually like relieved to hear that, yes, we are the ones moving it. It's just a toy. And she'd obviously been thinking about this for a while and wrestling with it. But now it's come out. So when we were talking, I said, now listen, now that you know this, you're in on the Christmas spirit secret. Like you're in on it. So you need to help keep this alive for your sister. You can help us move it if you want. You can set up little things. And she's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to. So now she's kind of on board with that. So I said, you can't tell Kendall because she's only 7 and she loves it too, right? So she was totally on board for that. And then throughout the rest of the day, she would say to me, Mom, when the elf was in a bubble bath full of marshmallows, that was you. And I said, yeah I did that.
Yeah.
She's like, oh. And then she would think of something else the elf did. And she's like, you did that. I said, yeah. She's like, when the elf was climbing the wall with like bows for presents, that was you. I said, yeah, that was me. And she's like, what? Like her mind was blown that like we did all this stuff. But now she's in on it. So, I mean, and she actually loves being in on it. So she'll be like Harley. We haven't lost the nose yet though on ours.
Well,
Are you starting to feel like you're losing your almost teenage daughter?
Yeah. She hasn't asked about Santa yet though.
It's coming.
So far. And I think she probably knows, but I wonder if she just doesn't. If I don't believe in Santa, I don't get presents from Santa. So maybe that's
she already has a phone, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Keep your mouth shut until you.
Yeah. Well,
By the way, best place to hide the elf in the off season, by the way, is one of your old purses at the back of the closet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because no one else will look at it, and either will you.
There you go. Perfect. This is Due to Underwhelming Demand, the podcast. We're Dave, Rachel, and Forman. And check out our website, underwhelming.ca. It's new. We're working on it, but it's there. Go see it.
Yeah, we've got a lot up so far, including a new listener survey, because we want to make sure that this podcast is something that you enjoy and you want to listen to, and we talk about things that you want to hear. So take our listener survey. If you go to underwhelming.ca, you'll see in the top navigation bar listener survey, and you can just fill it out there.
Yeah, you can sign up for our newsletter. You can sponsor the podcast, or if you know somebody that would like to sponsor the podcast, it's easy to find how to do all of that stuff on our website, or you can just write to us, DaveRachelForman@gmail.com, or anywhere on social media. We are minus the sponsor right now, so, it would be great if we could get 1, 2, 3, or 25.
Yes, however many want to come.
You could even leave us a message through underwhelming.ca.
Yes.
Even leave us a voice message through underwhelming.ca.
Ooh, yeah, you can.
Even
right
buy
on
us
the
a
main
coffee
page.
through underwhelming.ca.
Yes, we've got
Do
everything
all
on
those
there.
things.
Yeah. Howie actually sent us a message through our underwhelming.ca. He says, "Good day, Dave, Rachel, and Forman. Thank you for your show always. I thought I would share with you this link from Facebook for inflatable Santas." And it's a video of a humongous inflatable Santa
Wow.
in somebody's neighborhood. And then we were talking about anonymous posting on Facebook. He says, "I've created a private group for the Strathroy Army Cadets, Strathroy 11 Army Cadets, and I've turned off anonymous postings. So it is possible. Being in charge of groups is a full-time job. Luckily for
Bet.
me, it's a small group. It is a full-time. You're
It
like
is. It would
admitting
be.
a
yeah.
group.
It would be. It would be.
That's
And by-
ridiculous.
And by the way, the big inflatables now, and I told you that I'm not a huge fan of the inflatables, but my wife is starting to lean that way, which is bad news for me because eventually this might happen to me. But we were driving through a very the Old North neighborhood, the Old North in London, we like to drive around and look at big houses, and there are big, beautiful old homes, and anyway, there's this one area where they all have the same inflate. These are Tony, beautiful, old houses, all decorated up with great big inflatable Santas, all the same, all the
Yeah.
same. And I thought to myself, good for you people.
Sure.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So
It's fun. I think it's a fun idea.
Well, the update I guess I haven't been able to share it with you guys,
Oh,
is
yeah.
that, is the Embro was trying to get the whole town in Embro
Sure,
to do it.
yes.
So there's well over 200 Santas there.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
I took the Heart FM car through the Santa Claus parade in Embro, and you go down the main street, and there's barely a single house without a Santa.
I have to go.
It is
Interesting.
so cool. And I
Okay.
tried, we had one, and I was trying to rig it up to put it onto the roof of the car. Mm-hmm. Well, a couple problems. It was super windy that night.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think, oh, it's a 12-foot tall Santa, you don't realize how big 12 feet are.
It's big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
They're
tall.
big.
He turned into a sail, and then he tore wide open.
Sail. Oh my gosh.
That answered that question for me anyway. And besides, there's plenty of power lines going across the main street in Embo, so
Yeah.
even if I tried to put them up there, it would have been a disaster.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Although I would like to have seen video of that.
Well, and the cool thing is
I saw
they
a video of it broken because you posted
Yes.
it.
exactly. And I took a video montage of all the not even half of the ones I saw documented of different Santas. They're great. But the cool thing about Embro that I'll just say too is that they turned into a fundraiser. So anyone who had a Santa
Okay.
could put in like $10. Some of the businesses around the area were collecting donations. Some organizations like the Oxford Junior Farmers and organizations like that said they would match donations. So they raised about $9,000.
Oh, wow.
For what? What are they
That's
raising
awesome.
money for?
For their local school, for
Oh,
Operation
okay.
Sharing, which helps out families for Christmas all over Oxford County, and a couple other
Wow.
That's
ones.
nice. That's nice.
Very
Okay.
cool. I mean,
I was
that's
against. I'm not against the idea of putting them up. I'm against the idea of this being a contest for a retail store to sell more Santas. But I think if you omit that part, it's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we have an email from Bonnie who says, I've been listening to you guys again, and I'm slowly catching up. I started listening from day one, but I fell off the bandwagon because, life gets busy. That's okay.
Yeah.
Welcome back. She says, I moved to northern BC, and shocker, radio stations are slim pickings, and radio signal is even worse in the foothills of the Rockies. So Spotify has been my go-to. I always used to listen to you guys on the radio station on my morning commute, so catching up on the podcast gives me a reminder of some of the best parts in Ontario. Just finished episode 88. I must say, I will never tire of the Forman Windsor drama. Please
That's
never
awesome.
stop bringing it up.
We
It makes
won't.
me literally laugh out loud every
that will
single
never
time.
happen.
We also never tire of that, Bonnie.
No,
so
we
you
don't.
don't have to be don't have to worry about that. I also want to bring up Service Ontario because wow, is it garbage now that I've experienced something else. ICBC is incredible here. Not only is everything cheaper, but a lot of insurance brokers, municipal offices are ICBC agents. So there's no lack of places to go, and many are open past 5 p.m., some open Saturdays and Sundays. Ontario, since moving here, I've realized Ontario is 25% worse than BC.
All right.
Ontario, the
Okay.
St. Thomas of Canada.
There
The
you
St.
go.
Thomas of Canada. Thank you, Bonnie. That made me laugh out loud, all of that. So thank you.
On the same subject as the one that she doesn't tire of,
Right?
I did mention in the previous episode about how one time my mom served me raw chicken.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Did she didn't send us an email, though.
No.
Did she
But
send you a
Jackie
message?
sent us a comment,
Okay.
and all Jackie said was, the raw chicken Forman's mom fed him was probably cooked in the fucking microwave.
Was it? Was it cooked in the microwave for me?
Not completely.
Clearly.
So it was.
Awesome.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Oh, poor Forman.
Oh, and I want to because this is getting older and older. It's a comment from John.
Okay.
John had said, because you, Dave, had the tale of John buying his wife Jan a scale
A scale,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, the
right.
scale. Yes, for her birthday.
for her birthday,
Yeah.
and it was all great. And they're both still living together.
Yes, they're very happy.
Yeah.
And they're married still, yeah.
Still, as far as
Okay.
I know.
Yes.
Last check.
As far as I know.
John just wanted to say a big thank you to you, Dave, for not telling the folks I gave Jan a low-flow toilet for her landmark birthday 14 years ago.
A low-flow toilet. Did he really? I believe he told me that. That's amazing.
John,
That's amazing.
you're the king of useful gifts.
That's
I will give
very
you that.
useful. I mean,
You're not
Clearly
you're never
she-
not going to use that.
clearly
So,
she needed a low-flow toilet.
sure.
I hope.
I
hope
mean,
so.
sure. What did
I
she
don't
say
know.
when she opened it? Was she pleased?
I
I wonder. I wish there was
wonder
a
if
video
she,
that I could watch.
the first thing out of her mouth was, "Well, I hope it's low flow."
Right. I hope it has a soft closed
right.
seat.
That's right.
Better be low flow with a soft closed seat.
Don't ever think about giving me a scale after this.
For Christmas, she'll get a bidet. Which might actually be okay. I would probably be all for that.
I don't think a low-flow bidet would do much for you, though.
No, if I get a bidet, I want it to be as high flow as possible.
right.
Because otherwise, what is the point?
Who gave me a low flow bidet?
Thing's supposed to fucking pressure one.
All it's doing is making the floor wet.
It's just spreading it around now.
Oh, God. No, bidets need to be high pressure.